Your Honor, my name is Phyllis Laureano. I am the mother of Micah Laureano. And before I begin my statement, I want to say that I am so grateful for my family, friends, and to everyone that has shown their support for Micah. There are no words powerful enough to express the pain of losing Micah, who was murdered on August 27, 2024. On the day he was murdered, my life and lives of everyone who loved him changed forever. Micah is my son. He is my heart, my joy, my purpose. Micah was 19 years old when his life was taken from him. He was just beginning his life's journey. He was funny and had an infectious smile. At Micah's funeral, his dental hygienist came to pay her respects. Micah was a patient of hers since he was like 3 years old. She just said that he had the most beautiful smile, perfect teeth with no cavities, and just a wonderful boy. Micah was loved by so many people, touching so many lives. He had so many talents. He was so creative and passionate about writing. He loved to draw. He loved music. He liked to cook and bake. He was taught by his abuela, which is his grandma, and his titi M and R, which are his aunts. He loved playing board games, especially Monopoly. When I got Micah's property back from GBCI, my kid impressed me. He literally made his own Monopoly board that made me laugh and cry at the same time. He loved making videos and taking mass amounts of pictures. I thank him for that. That is why we have so many pictures, as you can see on the canvas, that's now just memories that we will cherish forever. Micah was kind, loving, hardworking, and was always thinking of others. He loved his family deeply and his friends. He had so much more to give to this world. Being incarcerated didn't stop Micah from having dreams and setting goals. One of his goals was to get his high school diploma. He was consistent about filling out the request to find out when he could attend school at GBCI. But the replies he got back always saying that the same thing, we'll let you know. With that being said, he still had hope, trying to survive this prison system, learning and coping the best he could. Micah would communicate to me daily with me, and he would call like 2-3 times a day. He also would write me letters. That was his lifeline, trying to keep his sanity. The last day I spoke with Micah was Friday, August 9th, 2024. Not knowing that this would be our last conversation, never being able to speak with him again, Micah wrote me a letter on August 20th when he was in the TLU, the restrictive housing. Micah's funeral service was on September 6th, 2024. The day after, on Saturday, I went to the mailbox and found this letter from Micah. Standing before you today, reading this letter will give you an insight to who Micah was. I would like to read his letter. There are some language in here, but I don't know if I can read or not.
It's up to you.
Okay, I will read it. It's dated 8/20/2024. To Mama Bear. Hey, Ma, I haven't wrote you or anything because not seeing you last week just completely devastated me. I'm not in the hole, but in a temporary lockup, which is because I'm under investigation. With all that went down 2 weeks ago, I wasn't eating for days, and I was on the verge of committing suicide at one point. This whole thing kills me more than anything. Nobody is telling me anything at all about this, and they lost my glasses, Ma. How the they do that? This sucks, damn it. I should be able to call you soonish, but like I said, I haven't been out of bed much. I'm praying so hard that they move me to the MU, which is the loony bin, LOL. But that's where all the gays and he, she's go that are vulnerable and overly unsafe in general population. I guess it's 100% better than GP as far as safety, and they have washing machines and day rooms to be out and chill in all types of good. I would get church and school and probably a job too. I hope. If I don't hear anything or they find nothing, they have to release me from TLU back to GP, so that will be on the 30th of August, if all else fails. They can't keep me in TLU past 21 days. I also probably will be placed in a medium safeguard to safeguard me for the rest of the time I will be there. I meet with them for them to tell me on October 9th or something, a few days after my birthday. I'm turning 20. This is absolutely crazy to me, Mom. I'm glad I can live another year, and when I come home, I'll be 21. A big-ass baby laughing my ass off. I miss you so much beyond belief, and it hurts a lot, but 18 more months and I'll be home to you and Scotty and the family. I'm so excited, yes, yet also terrified to transfer to real life again. It's a lot to deal with. Do you remember the orange bendy pencils I used to steal from Rogers and the mental hospitals? That's what I'm writing with now, LOL. I have a hand cramp from drawing and writing so much with it. Gotta do what I gotta do though. So I got a catalog for the glasses and looked at some pairs and found one exactly like the Warby Parker ones I had. Not to mention, they're only $21.98 for the frames. Not bad, right? Maybe you could order a pair for me because you have the script and it would only take a week. They're gonna charge me for a replacement pair, which is bullshit, but yeah, I'll send the number for it and you can look at it online and let me know when we talk next. When I sent this, I sent this so you know I'm alive and sort of thriving, LOL. It's just a lot of bullshit, that's all right now, but I love you and hope to speak on the phone with you pretty soon. Tell Scotty I love him and let everyone know I'm okay right now. Love you, Mama Bear. From Micah Jellybean. P.S. I see the therapist tomorrow too. She was on vacation when I wrote her, but she can help me out a lot. I thank God that Micah wrote me this letter. It gave me some insight on what was happening to Micah in GBCI before he was murdered. The pain of losing Micah is something I carry every moment of every day. It is a pain that has no end. There's an emptiness in my soul that can never be filled. Every day is a reminder of his absence that shouldn't be. I'll never physically hear his voice again, see him laugh, be able to hold him and tell him how much I love him. The pain of knowing that I couldn't protect him from the torture he endured in GBCI weighs heavy on my soul every day. Michael loved his baby brother, Scotty, so much. He was so amazing and patient, helping me with Scotty and the challenges we faced with his autism. How do you explain to a child when they're looking for their sibling? Often Scotty will say to me, "Mama, maybe Micah will come back." He doesn't understand why his brother's no longer physically here. The impact on my son being murdered has no fair justice. I stand here before you today on Friday, June 27, 2025. The irony of this sentencing being on the 27th, as we are reminded once again the day Micah was murdered. Forevermore, the 27th of every month is a constant reminder that's never ending. I respectfully ask you to take in account the irreversible damage this crime has caused, not just for me, for Micah's entire family, and for everyone who has been affected by this tragedy, for those that have lost a loved one to senseless crimes. There is no justice that can bring Micah back. When you're deciding on sentencing, there must be accountability for whomever is responsible. Micah's life mattered. His voice was taken and silenced forever. But my voice remains. As Micah's mother, I will always stand by his side. and it's my duty to be his voice. I will continue to fight for the accountability and raise awareness. My son Micah is a strong entity. His soul is alive. That is something that no one can ever take from him. In his letter that he wrote to me, he states, well, I sent this so you know I'm alive and sort of thriving, LOL. I have a message for my son, and I know that in his divine presence, he can hear me. Micah, you are alive, and you're no longer a sort of thriving. You are thriving. This light represents and honors your eternal soul and guiding light to your new journeys and missions. You're so strong, amazing, and continue to make me proud. Even though you're no longer physically on this earth, your soul will always remain. And I love you always, Jelly Bean. Yeah. Micah, thrive, Micah. Thank you.
Thank you. Jackson Paul Vogel, under the law, you have an absolute right to address me now concerning any matter on your mind or heart, as it becomes my duty shortly to pass judgment upon you and to sentence you under the law. Is there anything you'd like to tell me, Mr. Vogel?
I may not show remorse. I may not be able to understand emotion. I may not be able to understand remorse itself. It doesn't mean a person cannot be sorry for what they did at any point in time. Because I am sorry. But on the other hand, I don't believe in holding on to the past. That is something that we cannot change. The past is something that I have experience in holding on to. It's hate that's the poison. Hate that consumes everything. And that is something that I've held on to my entire life. To some great, horrible things that I've done, said. That doesn't mean that I'm not sorry for what I've done. That doesn't mean that I don't have a sliver of regret. Because I'm not showing remorse, because I don't have emotion. It's not something I can understand. I can't rack my brain to understand it, but I am still sorry for what I've done.
Jackson Paul Vogel, I address you now. So under the law, I extend you the same analysis I must give to every defendant. I must consider protection of the public, punishment of the defendant's rehabilitated needs and deterrence. However, you appear before me having convicted of first-degree intentional homicide. In many jurisdictions, that's a capital offense. And in some jurisdictions, the jury had answered a proper question, I would be imposing the death penalty today. However, that's not the law of this state. This state says a mandatory life in prison sentence must be imposed. That's my duty. The only discretion I have is whether I ascertain that you can be eligible for extended supervision. Well, we need to reflect on August the 27th of 2024. You set in motion all the things that bring us here today. You were a cellmate with Micah Laureano, 19-year-old young man, convicted felon, but he'd never been convicted of an assaultive crime. For everything I've heard today, you know, he was a young man who may have lost his way and hopefully would have had a life going forward. He had a loving family. I want to share with you that, you know, what you saw from the mother today was a human expression of grief. Grief comes from the ability to actually appreciate a human life and then to have huge pain inflicted when you lose that life. I'm an old man. I've had that pain many, many times because I've loved like Micah's family's loved. I try to also now look at the character of the offender, and the memo from your defense team helps me at least understand how you've arrived where you are. Just so Micah's family knows, he was beaten all the time. He was abused by every adult to whom he could have shown affection and from whom he might have gotten affection. The result of that is a note. It's Exhibit 17. Kill all humans. Then a derogatory term directed it to Micah, kill all. And then finally, another derogatory term directed to gay people. The first one directed to African Americans. But I believe he wrote those things down, but the most chilling thing is the first thing. Kill all humans. My life's experiences persuade me that to perfect the killing machine against humans, you would have to isolate someone, and then their only contact with humans would be pain and misery, so that their response, like an attack dog, is any time they are exposed to a human, they go enraged. Mr. Vogel, at 16, you were sent into the Wisconsin State Correctional System. 8 years later, you commit a crime in which an anonymous human being to whom you had no real relationship is placed with you in a cell, and in a very short order, you process the decision to kill him. You kill him in an opportunity where you basically garrote him with a clothesline. Your testimony is, in your statement, you put your knee up against him and then you pulled him back till he went limp, till you literally squeezed the life out of him. And in your initial statement to the police, what's so frightening is you were excited about that. You felt rewarded that you'd taken another human life. That suggests so clearly to the court that with regard to my duty to protect the public, it's absolute. I believe you're a killing machine. I believe that after 8 years in the state prison system, there's been no change. And therefore, I have no ability to have an expectation that you will ever change, that you will either be a risk to every human being, to every guard, to every nurse, to every inmate, to anybody you are exposed to at any given time. You could flip a switch. They meet all the boxes. They're a human being. They are whatever. They are whatever. I am bored. So it's the sentence of the court and the judgment of the law that you be confined in the Wisconsin State Prison for the rest of your natural life. I find that you are not to be eligible for extended supervision. I will order that you make restitution in the sum of $20,039 to the victim, PL, in this case.